the ball in the post-truth apocalypse. I'm Ben. I'm joined by Mike.
Hello.
Claire.
Hey.
And Pete.
I'll read.
This week we finish our chemical and biological warfare special with part 2.
Woohoo!
Biological weapons. I bet you're thrilled. Don't worry, they're not as bad as chemical ones.
Really pink and fluffy though, this one, definitely.
Oh, it's been a fantastically fluffy episode. Fantastically fluffy. Fluffy. Fantastically fluffy.
Yeah, don't try to say that 5 times quick.
No, because the fantastically fluffy man will appear in the mirror behind you and kill you. Right, so let's thank some new return listeners, then we'll crack on with it. Just want to say, follow us on Facebook at Cutting to the Bull and the Post-Truth Apocalypse, YouTube at Apocalypse Bull, and SoundCloud and Spotify and all your other podcasting platforms. Cutting to the Bull in the PTA. Where shall I start? Westbury, Brooklyn, Chicago and Horn Lake in the USA. Sydney in Australia, Frankfurt and Maine in Germany, Cairo in Egypt, Mosnov, is that the Czech Republic, Mike?
Yep.
Fantastic, I got a flag right.
You have.
Hey, chalk it up. Londonderry in the USA, Manchester in the UK, Whitstable in the UK, Boardman, Oregon, Belfast in the UK, Guadalajara, Spain, Charlotte and Ashburn, both in the US, and Auckland, New Zealand.
Thank you for listening.
Fantastic, thank you very much.
Tell a friend.
Tell a friend, tell several friends. Well, biological weapons, the phrase alone should send chills down the spine. Does mine.
Yeah, fucking right.
But what are they? How do they work? And are we really at risk? Because, you know, bioterrorism, massive threat.
Of course
we're
it is.
at risk.
Well, yes. Yes,
Yeah.
we are.
Yeah.
Sometimes known as germ warfare, biological weapons involve the use of toxins or infectious agents that are biological in origin. This can include bacteria, viruses or fungi. These agents are used to incapacitate or kill humans, animals or plants as part of a war effort. Or if you're a terrorist and you've got hold of some gnarly shit. But these things are actually quite simple to... Well, these are quite a bit more sophistication actually. You've got to modify an existing disease. But if you want anthrax, you've got anthrax. Then you need the antidote to anthrax, and therefore you can modify it.
Okay.
In effect, biological warfare is using non-human life to disrupt or end human life, because living organisms can be unpredictable and incredibly resilient. Biological weapons are often difficult to control, potentially devastating on a global scale, and prohibited globally under numerous treaties. Of course, treaties and international laws are one thing, and humanity's ability to find new and innovative ways of killing each other is another, because if we're not fucking good at that...
Yeah.
Oh, we're so good at it.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
We're so good at it.
Always have been.
Yeah. Exploration and killing each other and finding new and innovative ways to kill each other. That's the true human spirit.
Sick, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Although these things, like you say, you don't want these. You don't want chemical weapons, you don't want these, you don't want nukes. You don't want any of this. So the history of biological warfare is a long one. You guys are going to go, what do you mean, Ben? How long ago was it that we used this stuff? Do you want to give me a guess?
I would say before Christ.
Yeah.
Before, like, BC.
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
I reckon it's been going a long
Yeah.
time.
Oh, I wasn't going to go that far back.
No, what you find, they would have used infected people
Yes,
to
you're right, yeah.
infect
Pete, you're right.
crowds of other people, things like that.
Oh,
If you're sieging a castle or a city,
You send a
just throw infected
syphilitic fucking
bodies
whatever.
over the wall.
When back in the day, when you lay siege to a city, the army defending the city is just as much at risk of disease as the people defending, because you've got thousands of men camped out in a field in trenches or what have you, but they're all shitting where they drink.
Yeah. Well,
You
won't they
know,
make latrines?
They make latrines. The Romans understood that, but if you go further back, armies stay in one place tend to get sick.
Yeah.
You got a lot of people stuck together. Sanitary. There's no sanitation. BC, is there?
No.
Wasn't that understood?
No.
The closest would have been within, like, the Egyptians, like
Yeah.
that kind of time. They had sanitation
Yeah.
of some sort.
But like we're talking proper.
But,
if you're talking
yeah.
like a British Celtic army of the time,
Yeah,
BC, you're not doing anything. You're just like, oh well, we're just all here. Some of us are going to get sick. Let's just accept it.
Well, it still happens now in developing countries.
Of course. Yeah. But we're talking warfare.
Mm.
So what happens is everyone starts getting sick, and when someone starts feeling a bit peaky, you you put him on a catapult when he's dead, and you fling him into the sea.
God.
Or put them into their water supply.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no.
It's more of a statement to fling them into the sea with a
Oh,
catapult,
yeah.
though, isn't it?
Probably more effective in
It's
the
more of
water
a
supply.
statement.
Yeah.
Well, they used to poison the water supplies
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
You know, they put ergot in it, so everyone started tripping out. 2.5 millennia, the Assyrians infected their enemies' wells with the rye ergot fungus, which contains chemicals related to LSD, and consuming the tainted water produced a confused mental state, hallucinations, and in some cases death.
That's a shitter.
Those cheeky Assyrians. 2.5 millennia ago.
You don't want to be tripping balls when you're in a fucking war, do you?
No. That's the last place you don't be tripping balls, but yet the Panzer crews in World War II were on meth.
Yeah, that doesn't affect you.
That won't affect your judgment whatsoever, will it?
It won't give you hallucinations, though, will it?
If you're going to
No.
be dying, why not die on LSD? Woo!
Yeah, but this is like, we might win this kind of scenario.
Oh.
We're behind walls, they're besieging us, all of a sudden we're tripping balls, you're opening the gate and going for a walk in that daisy field, and then the enemy army rushes in and kills everybody.
But you won't know though.
Well, you won't know a fucking thing about it, you're absolutely right.
Or you think you're fighting fucking demons
Yeah, could be
and not
handy.
humans. And you're
It's
like,
not
oh,
killing your mates.
Yeah, a bit of friendly fire.
In the 1300s, Tartar or Mongol warriors besieged the Crimean city of Kaffa, and during the siege, many Tartars died at the hands of the plague, and their lifeless infected bodies were hurled over the city walls.
The plague.
The plague! Some researchers believe that this tactic may have been responsible for the spread of the Black Death plague into Europe. And if this is so, the early use of biological warfare caused the eventual deaths of around 25 million Europeans. That is, it's more of a conspiracy theory that
A
the
bit speculative, isn't it?
the Ottoman Empire at the time, which had just taken out the Byzantine, the Eastern Roman Empire. Think about it every day.
Because I'm a man's
Think of a
man.
man. They were gonna their idea was, we're gonna release this plague into Europe, weaken them, and invade. But the problem is, plague doesn't differentiate, does it?
No.
And they start getting sick too.
mm,
Moving forward to 1763, the British Army attempted to use smallpox as a weapon against Native Americans at the siege of Fort Pitt. In an attempt to spread the disease to the locals, the Brits presented blankets from a smallpox hospital as gifts.
Ah.
That's quite funny.
it's quite cunty, isn't it?
It's a bit cunty.
Yeah.
Although we now know that this would be a relatively ineffective way to transmit smallpox, the intent was there.
That's kind of why it's funny though, because it's just like, we'll get them, and it's like, oh, that didn't work whatsoever.
In all
because-
fairness, I
shit.
also wouldn't want to be a British soldier on a frontier fort fighting under siege from Indians, and we've got a smallpox epidemic. If I'm healthy, my chances of walking away from the scenario are really slim.
Of course, yeah.
So, how brutal do I want to be to stay alive?
Well, that's it, isn't it? In war, you want to win, don't you, at all costs?
Proper shady tactics though, isn't it? That
It's not very, you know what?
proper
It's not
shady.
very British, and I don't like it.
No.
Wouldn't have happened on my watch. Now, during World War II, things really ramped up because it's war. And many of the parties involved looked into biological warfare with great interest. The Allies, especially the Brits. So I point that out. In fact, that's why there's Anthrax Ireland
Yep. Check out our episode.
on Anthrax Ireland. We built facilities capable of mass producing anthrax spores. Oh God, who wants to help me out with that one? Brucellosis and botulism toxins. Thankfully the war ended before they were used, well because they didn't have to be used. The reason the Brits developed anthrax and all this nasty stuff is because we thought, if we're going to be invaded, we're going to use everything we've got. And that includes biological and chemical weapons.
And that would have got our own people, though, wouldn't it?
It
But
depends.
they wouldn't have cared, as we'll show
Well,
later.
it does and it doesn't. I mean, it depends what you're using. Remember, the technology for delivering these systems is more effective than opening a canister and hoping the wind's going the right way. You can drop bombs of this stuff in
But if
nowadays.
they're invading, if they're on the British Isles,
Yes, but you don't use it. You use it in bombing raids, don't you, and things like that. You don't drop it on the front line. You use it behind the lines. It spreads disorder. Everyone's going down sick. They can't supply their army properly. And
Of
it
course.
kills cattle, which reduces food.
yeah. But of course, we didn't really need it because, let's face it, firebombs did the job, didn't it?
They certainly did. They certainly did. Can't argue with that. Don't go if you want to go to Dresden. Is it Dresden? I think it's Dresden.
Yeah.
If you want to go there, it's a beautiful medieval German town. Looks amazing. Only because they rebuilt it using old photographs of what it used to look like.
Yeah, we torched it completely.
There's nothing left. German cities were completely firebombed. We'll do an episode on firebombing one day.
Thank God, since the Geneva Convention, although we still don't really follow it properly.
I don't know whether we're going to thank God for this, but
No, I'm not really thanking God for this, to be fair.
But we're not meant to target civilians specifically anymore.
Hence
It's a
the
war
increase
crime.
in precision weapons.
But back in World War II, it wasn't such a thing.
Well, the whole thing started by accident. It was like there was a thing that was diverging slightly into a history lesson, but the thing was the bomber would always get through and it would devastate cities. But London was bombed by accident originally. Hitler didn't want to bomb London; he was drawn out into a bombing match. And
Well, he wanted to ally with us, didn't he?
yeah, well, he didn't want. Yeah, that's what the other thing. He was like, "Come on, you'll be fine. Side with us." But when he bombed London, the Brits went, "Oh, no chance." We immediately bombed Berlin in retaliation.
Yeah.
See, Hitler saw us as natural allies
Why?
because of the cunting things that we did to the Indians. And,
because of our history,
Yeah,
basically.
Well,
You're
it's
a
not,
bunch of
no.
cunts,
It's
you can be
a
cunts together.
it's a territorial thing. Britain owned 25% of the globe, and Hitler owns Europe.
Yeah.
Between us, there's not much of the globe and resources we don't control. It's a natural alliance, isn't it?
A
Yeah,
sensible alliance.
And a lot of the
if you look at
aristocracy wanted it
of course, they did.
because a
They
lot of
love
them shared the
fascism.
same views. But fortunately, that didn't happen, and we became the bastion of democracy we remain.
It nearly did.
Nearly did, but
And in
nearly doesn't
America.
count. And what,
Major
Ireland?
fascist movement in America at the time. And here, with
You
Oswald.
could, let's not forget Ireland. Ireland was neutral, but it still fucking refueled U-boats.
Were they coining in profit?
Probably.
They're the Irish.
But remember, they didn't like the Brits. Nazi Germany and Ireland get close, and all of a sudden Britain's got to fight on a third front in Ireland. You know, a lot of things can go wrong. But we are diverging. World War II, we're still in World War II though. The Japanese, who made the most use of biological weapons during World War II, among other terrifyingly indiscriminate attacks, the Japanese Army Air Force dropped ceramic bombs full of fleas carrying the bubonic plague on Ningbo, China. Let's not forget Unit 731. We did an episode on that for Christmas, Pete. You just missed that one.
Oh.
We made Claire scream. But yeah, Unit 731 was a biological weapons testing lab. No one left Unit 731. There were no survivors. All the scientists were giving amnesty by the US in return for their research.
Yep.
Strange, that, isn't it?
Yeah, very strange. The Japanese army poisoned more than 1,000 wells in Chinese villages to study cholera and typhus outbreaks. Some of the epidemics they caused persisted for years and continued to kill more than 30,000 people in 1947, long after the Japanese had surrendered. The Japanese also planned a last fuck you to the Americans right at the end of the war. They equipped one of their few remaining subs to carry about 4 float planes that could take off on the water.
Yeah.
So they'd lift them up to the submarine surface. They'd like a submarine aircraft carrier, effectively. One of the last ones where they four old float planes, and they'd be armed with ceramic jugs filled with bubonic plague infested fleas. They're going to drop the bombs on LA and then kamikaze their way into a building.
And you guys don't believe in fucking chemtrails, please.
What's it got to do with chemtrails?
I was on your
Oh
side.
yeah, sorry, you were more on my side.
Well, we know that
They were already flying shit over and experimenting with fleas for fuck's sake.
We're going to get to this later on.
So
But yeah, Japan as a final fuck you. The only thing that stopped that was the Americans dropped the bomb. Or dropped the 2 bombs even. That was what stopped that. The Brits were going to kill every cow in Germany using bomber-dropped feed cakes stuffed with anthrax. That was their plan. Stop the food. It's nasty stuff.
They're fucking ruthless. You've got to be glad that a lot of these did never come to fruition, really. Because
Oh yeah.
Awful.
So bioterrorism is what we're facing nowadays, and this can be achieved in a number of ways via aerosol sprays and explosive devices, food or water, or absorbed or injected into the skin. Because some pathogens are less robust than others, the type of pathogen used will define how it can be deployed. And utilising such weapons holds a certain appeal to terrorists. They have potential to cause great harm, but they're also fairly cheap to produce when compared with missiles or other more high-tech equipment, and they can be detonated. Due to the long time it takes for them to spread and take effect, there's plenty of time for the perpetrator to escape undetected.
I suppose even like things like cyanide sprays.
Yeah.
It's kind of what that would be, isn't it? It is biological warfare in some.
Cyanide's a natural poison.
Yeah. But that was quite a big thing when it'd been like 70s and things like that, wasn't it? It was becoming quite a hitmen would use it, wouldn't they, quite often? Because it would just show as a heart attack.
Obviously, that's why they tighten the laws on getting hold of chemicals in this country. You can't do it now. Now, biological weapons in a battlefield situation are difficult to control. There's a substantial risk that troops on both sides will be affected. However, if a terrorist is interested in attacking a distant target as a lone operant, bioterrorism carries much less risk to the person. Yeah, as we've seen in the UK recently, the Novichok thing, although it was a chemical weapon, paint it on the door, fuck off.
Throw the bottle away in a bin that some bin diver accidentally picks up and sprays on her and kills her and nearly kills her husband, if I remember rightly.
Then, of course, the anthrax attacks in the US, they never found out who did that, allegedly. Well, that's the official line.
Is that when they were sent through the post?
That's it, yeah, sent through the post. She's not long after 9/11.
Did they actually affect anybody?
Yeah, 5 people died.
Yeah. Just opened it up, fuck! Anthrax in the face. And they never found out who did that at all.
No.
Now, that's the most common one is anthrax, to be fair, because it's like anyone can get it. If you're a farmer, you've got something to combat anthrax.
Yeah.
Because it's a common disease amongst cattle.
It's widely found in nature.
Also easily produced in the lab, and it survives for a long time in the environment. It's versatile and can be released in powders, sprays, water or food. 2001, the anthrax spores were sent to the post and 22 people contracted anthrax. 5 died, Mike, you were right, yeah. Smallpox, obviously the Brits tried that one, but it's pretty much gone now, hasn't it, smallpox?
Well, we've got a vaccine now, haven't we?
Yes, but then I'll guarantee you this chemical weapon beats that vaccine.
Does it?
I bet you it does. No point in developing things if they can't beat the vaccine, is there?
Well, that's why I don't think it's going to be used, is it? Because
you could turn that on its head and say, well, why would you make a vaccine if it's not going to beat the
yeah, exactly.
Well, because the big pharma wants its extra round of vaccines in the case of a smallpox outbreak.
Well, no, but you've just got that, with the fear.
Well, you make the disease and the cure in this scenario.
Yeah.
So smallpox, unlike anthrax, can be spread from person to person. The smallpox is no longer a disease of concern in the natural world.
Say smallcocks then.
Yeah, that's good. Smallcocks are no longer a disease of concern because they're all hung now.
Quite the opposite, mate.
For yourself.
Oh, just me them.
That's all the fucking poisons in the water and everything, and God knows what. We've been through this,
I know.
making our penises smaller, generation after generation.
Well, that's alright, we're in the last big cock generation. Oh, we just thrown it out there.
Yeah.
I mean, if yours are small guys, what they like now, think of it that way. You're positively hung now.
There you go, Pete.
Yeah, baby.
Whip it out in front of the kids, show them what they're missing.
Pardon?
Redefine the age of those children, Mike. And,
16, obviously.
Oh, just go to all the 16-year-olds and whip your cock out.
Hey guys,
Alright, you're of legal age consent.
You won't see one this big.
is that why you're not allowed out in public anymore? So you've got the tag.
We are joking, guys.
Yes, obviously. But like I say, if someone were to gain access to the smallpox virus and modify it, that's what this is all about. It's modifying diseases.
Modify the smallpox to give you every man small cocks.
Exactly.
Yeah,
God, it's been released.
No!
Oh, the plague.
Ooh,
Yersinia
fucking
pestis.
nasty one.
We can treat this now, though, can't we?
We can, but it's still a bastard. And remember, it depends which plague you get. Some kill within 24 hours.
I don't know.
Yeah, the septic plague kills within 24 hours.
Is that the one where you get all sort of lumps on your arms and start pussing and...
No, that's bubonic.
Oh.
Septic plague gets into the bloodstream.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
It's like instant septicemia, essentially, doesn't it? And
Pretty
shuts
much,
down,
yeah.
Shuts all your organs down.
There's during the Black Death, obviously, all 4 types of plague were trotting around. And some priest stayed with the family. They all ate dinner together, went to bed, not together, presumably. And then he got up in the morning, breakfast was on the table, went and checked the bedrooms, everybody's dead of the septicemic plague.
Oh.
Fuck.
You know, that's how quick it can kill. So Yersinia pestis, obviously the Tartars used it years ago, and some believe it could be used in the modern world too. Obviously the Japanese did it. Once a human is infected, the resulting disease can either develop into bubonic plague, which is difficult to transmit among humans and fairly easy to treat with antibiotics, nowadays obviously. Or if the infection spreads to the lungs, it becomes pneumonic plague, which develops rapidly and does not respond well to antibiotics. Remember, the plague's still about.
Yep.
There's plague outbreaks around the world every year. It's still around. So given the presence and availability of plague around the world, the capacity for mass production and aerosol dissemination, the high fatality rate of pneumonic plague, and the potential for rapid secondary spread, the potential use of plague as a biological weapon is of great concern, says Dr. Stephen Riedel, who's at Baylor University Medical Center, Dallas, Texas.
What's it being carried by these days then?
Still rats.
Rats.
Yep.
Cholera. Cholera is quite nasty. Lots of people died from cholera. A potentially severe and sometimes deadly gastrointestinal disease, cholera has the potential to be used in bioterrorism. It does not spread easily from person to person, but it does need to be added to a major water source, which is, if you're doing terrorism, you don't tell people you're doing this, do you?
No.
Them Jewish Avengers, they tried to use it, didn't they?
They did, yeah. They wanted to do this. They wanted to poison the water supply.
The Germans.
Kill 6 million Germans, eye for an eye. We did an episode on it. Check that out. Now, in the past, the bacteria responsible for cholera, Vibrio cholerae, has been weaponised by the US, Japan, South Africa and Iraq, among others. Never Iraq. I don't believe Iraq did anything like that. Check out our last episode. Iraq did a lot of stuff, didn't they?
Yeah.
No.
Saddam Hussein popped up a few times, didn't he?
I'd go as far as to say that Saddam Hussein's not a very nice person.
I'd go as far as to say maybe he was just being used as a scapegoat.
He still made the decision to drop all those chemicals and biological agents, though.
That we gave him.
Certain Western powers gave him. You know, he still had to use them, Mike.
He did.
Not saying I'm a fan of his, but He might be misunderstood, you know, old Saddam.
Oh,
he might have been a nice guy.
You fucking liberal hippie.
Have
Yeah,
you
like
watched the South
fuck.
Park movie as well? He's not a good guy.
That's true. He screws Satan over after convincing him he loves him.
Oh, Saddam. Why is it you always think about sex?
But I love you.
You know, you screw Satan over, man.
How'd you like to suck my big pink cigar?
Well, yeah.
I'm not sure why he sounded like one of the Canadians in it, to be
Yeah.
fair. But
Fucking funny though.
Yeah, it's the only musical I've ever watched.
Yeah.
Tularamia. Tularamia. So we're going with Tularamia. It's an infection caused by the Francella tularaneris.
it's a
Bacterium.
tough one, this fucking
It is.
hell.
As a potential bioweapon, it causes fever, ulceration, swelling of lymph glands, and sometimes pneumonia. The bacterium can cause infection by entering through breaks in the skin or being breathed into the lungs. It's particularly infectious, and only a small, very, very small number of organisms, as few as 10, need to enter the body in order to start off a serious bout of tularamia. Studied by the Japanese during World War II and stockpiled in the US, it's highly capable of withstanding low temperatures in water, hay, decaying carcasses, and moist soil for many weeks.
Fucking hell.
And without antibiotic treatment, the clinical cause could progress to respiratory failure, shock, and death.
So it survives really well in the shittiest environments you most things don't survive in.
Yeah,
Not nice at all, that.
Where they stockpiling it?
it's kept in various large containers, basically. Airtight,
Guarded by
sealed
top
tanks,
men.
guarded by top men.
Top
I have been to the place where they make it and test it and develop antidotes, but I'm not at liberty to talk about it.
You just did.
Just a second, I went there, didn't say what I did, or where it was.
He was licking all the windows to make sure it was safe.
So, of course, let's not forget other biological weapons: Brucellosis, Q fever, monkeypox, arboviral encephalitis. Close, yeah.
Phallidoids, I think.
Yeah, about encephalitides,
Yeah.
viral hemorrhagic fevers, and staphylococcal enterotoxin B.
Staphylococcal.
Cockle.
Yeah,
Staphylococcal.
go with that.
Extra toxin B. I don't know what that is, but
Sounds nasty, doesn't it?
Streptococcal is
It's throat.
tonsillitis,
Yeah.
basically. So it's like some super tonsillitis that really fucks you up.
What you've got to remember about these things is they're not designed to kill and incapacitate to a lethal degree like the chemical weapons. Chemical weapons are designed by man to be deadly, and these diseases are designed by man to be deadlier, yes. But if you drop this, if you want to go to war with somebody and you manage to spread a disease into their country, all of a sudden that country has to divert millions and billions of pounds or dollars or whatever to treat its population, because that's the ethical thing to do, the government should be doing,
Yeah.
because it needs people to work and keep the economy going. Can't have lots of people off sick.
Without people, they've lost the war straight away.
That's it. So it's designed to fuck a population up,
Weaken them, isn't it?
weaken them, and then when you do invade, you've got a bunch of sickly people coming at you.
They're probably just going to wave a white flag and say we're too sick to fight.
Yeah.
Just not have it.
Look, I need to shit.
Just let us live. It's yours.
And I refuse to believe that no one has attempted to weaponise Ebola. Ebola is one of the nastiest diseases out there.
Oh god, yeah.
No one really knows where you get it from. It's a 90%...
Eating monkeys.
No, maybe not. No one knows where it comes from.
Fucking monkeys, then.
No, that's AIDS.
Oh.
Because there's some theories say AIDS is a biological weapon spread by the CIA.
Targeting.
Homosexuals and black people.
Right.
How does it target black people?
Black people have a lot of unprotected sex.
Fuck, Ben, that's a bit of a sweeping statement.
No, not really. For the time in America, they're going to shittier schools, they live in lower economic neighbourhoods. It's just like...
It's fact. It's not
Yeah,
just. It's not your opinion. It is. It
No,
is
it's-
fact.
In fact, that safe sex wasn't pushed as much in school because the schools are terrible. Education budgets are down to bare bones. People are in gangs. They're doing drugs. They're
It's
fucking.
rife in Africa.
It's
The
just
trouble
what
is-
it's what you know. That's not me being prejudiced. That's fucking that's fact.
But I thought AIDS did come from Africa in like the 40s.
Yeah.
It's a bit before the CIA, wasn't it?
Well, the CIA was founded in 1947, but the point is, if you know about the disease, big fucking you
They
can get
weaponise
get
it.
into a partnership with Big Pharma to sell that cure. CIA's making money to do what, Mike? Buy arms.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them, I suppose. They are cunts.
It's only a conspiracy theory. It's not the
Mm.
truth. I'm just saying it. You know.
Why would they buy arms? Why not
So
legs? They're more useful.
Well, you've got to give these arms to the Contras and the legs, arms and legs.
I hope they're buying them gloves to keep those fingers warm.
They don't need it in South America where they're conducting all these coups. It's just t-shirt and shorts, mate.
Nah, it's fucked up in it though. The thought of what can be done and
CIA introduced crack in society. You know, why wouldn't they fucking introduce AIDS if they had the chance? Partnership with Big Pharma, sell the drugs, take a profit.
They tested syphilis, didn't they?
Tested syphilis in Tuskegee. We'll do an episode on that. Might be our Christmas episode actually. The Tuskegee syphilis experiments.
Nice.
Jolly.
Yeah. Well, we've got to outdo ourselves every year, haven't we?
Mm.
So biological weapons are as old as the hills, if not older, and modern technology brings new worries, and some experts are concerned about recent advances in gene editing technology. So maybe like that disease, you know, that pandemic we had, and we're not going to say what it was called, that disease, for YouTube reasons. There was a pandemic, wasn't there?
I can't remember. Yeah, I think it might have been. Yeah,
We are censored by the man.
so we must be compliant.
There was a pandemic, and there is some evidence to suggest, maybe somewhere, somehow, according to some sources, that pandemic was an edited disease, or was a gain of function. You can edit the gene sequences of various bacteria, viruses, etc., etc.
To make them more deadly to humans.
Yes, so you might start killing off, I don't know, the diabetics because it's a genetic thing in some cases.
Just make it stronger and more deadly.
Yeah, or you make it stronger and more deadly. But
Which-
you can also target it to certain groups of people, which is even more worrying. And the concern is then that you could maybe target certain racial profiling genes in the human body, and where you could make a disease that only affects a certain race of people.
Good job Hitler's not around now, isn't it?
Jesus.
You know, those are some legitimate concerns, because you know that they would have worked on that if they weren't already.
Well, Mengele was trying, wasn't he?
Mengele was giving everything a fucking very good go.
Yeah.
There's a Christmas episode. Yeah. And the thing is, bioterrorism is quite cheap because if you're a country, you have these diseases such as anthrax, you collect some spores, you take them to a lab, you start pissing around with it, all of a sudden you've got a weaponised version. And this stuff does get tested on people. British government's done a fair bit of this. Our own government, throughout
In
the years,
secret.
in secret, without telling us.
Well, how do we know then?
Well, it's come to
Come
light.
out now, isn't
Yeah.
it?
During the Cold War, and they made us fear the Russians, what the Russians would do to us. The Russians never did this to us. They never released biological weapons and chemical weapons on their own on us, did they?
That we know of.
Well, they didn't, did they?
In terms of current evidence, no.
Yeah, but the British government did to their own people.
God.
Yeah.
Look what it done to their faces.
What, Squid Game, isn't it?
The masks, the masks we're looking at, guys, because they're creepy masks.
They're like baby face masks.
Yeah.
Almost.
It's
Bank robbers would wear them.
1956. It allowed the collection of proxy warfare substances that have been sprayed from aircraft. So it was like a synthetic skin mask. That's how well it sticks to the skin. Mind you, 3 guys stood underneath an A-bomb blast and survived.
Didn't they?
Yeah. Then they all died of cancer a few years later, but they survived the initial blast.
Well, because they were within like the eye of it almost. There's no actual.
Yeah, it wasn't like directly above them. We're talking like it was a couple of miles up or something
Yeah,
like that. But
yeah.
when they went off, they all smoked cigars.
What? Why? Why did they volunteer to
They
do that?
didn't know at the time.
Yeah.
did
So it
they?
was to show that because people were fearful of the A-bomb, it was like, hey, look, it can be safe if you're a few miles under it.
We even got pilots to fly through the mushroom cloud.
Oh, yeah, I've got
Tell
an
them it's
episode.
perfectly safe.
Yeah,
And of course, they all died of cancers years later.
and the genetic defects in their kids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We do an episode on it.
We've done an episode on everything.
We'll do an episode on that. It's on my list. Just waiting for the right time for it to break. During the Cold War, the British government used the general public as unwitting biological and chemical warfare guinea pigs on a much greater scale than previously thought, according to new historical records. Research, records, same thing. You say tomato, I say tomato. In more than 750 secret operations, hundreds of thousands of ordinary Britons were subjected to mock biological and chemical
Mocking quotes.
chemical warfare attacks launched from aircraft, ships and road vehicles. So they're driving down the street spraying this shit out.
What?
It's shocking, isn't it? This is what inspired me to do the episode. Come across this article.
So who gave the nod on this?
Would have been Churchill.
Fucking
Well,
hell.
whoever the Prime Minister was, basically. Or the people who really run the country. It wasn't just Churchill.
No.
Whoever was in charge.
Yeah.
Or whoever really runs the country. So, up until now, historians thought that such operations have been much less extensive. The new research carried out by Ulf Schmidt, Professor of Modern History at the University of Kent. Can't trust a man called Ulf Schmidt, Mike.
What? You know, mate, he's as
Only-
English as Tom, Dick and Abdul.
Ulf Schmidt sounds like he's got a fucking agenda to me, mate. He's revealed that the British military aircraft dropped thousands of kilos of a chemical of a largely unknown toxic potential on British civilian populations in and around Salisbury in Wiltshire, which is where a certain base is that they developed this stuff,
Putting down, yeah.
and Cardington in Bedfordshire and Norwich in Norfolk. You can see what's had the effect on Norwich. They're all fucking inbred. I've met 3 people from Norwich. They've all been thick as fuck. Just saying.
Any Norwich listeners, we do apologise. It's only Ben's view, not
Yeah.
ours.
Just saying. They've all been thick as fuck. Substantial quantities were also dispersed across parts of the English Channel and the North Sea, and it's not known the extent to which coastal towns in England and France were affected. Well, we don't care with the French too much, do we?
Definitely not.
It would have been alright if we tested this from the French. I wouldn't have minded.
I couldn't give 2 fucks.
Couldn't give 2 frogs.
Set up some big slingshots at Dover. Straight over to Calais. There you go. Give it a go.
We'll launch the plague while we're at it.
We are only joking, by the way, listeners.
I'm not.
Not me either. But
The research reveals for the first time that around 4,600 kilos of the chemical zinc cadmium sulfide, now thought to be potentially carcinogenic on account of its cadmium content, were dispersed from ships, aircraft and moving lorries between 1953 and 1964.
We wonder why fucking cancer's spiking.
You got the Tories and Labour in on that, haven't you?
Yeah, they're both as bad as each other, mate. Both as bad as each other.
50. Sure.
Cancer-causing fucking chemicals.
So what?
4,600 kilos of the shit.
so they're basically doing what the Japanese did.
They're doing it on our own fucking people.
They're just testing out these things instead of cholera in the wells.
in secret.
They're just doing it in a different way.
Yep. He's also revealed, Professor Schmidt, if that is his real name, has revealed that commuters on the London Underground are also used as guinea pigs on a substantially larger scale than previously thought. That was carried out in May 1964.
An unknown biological field trial.
The secret operation, carried out by scientists from the government's Chemical and Biological Warfare Research Centre at Porton Down, Wiltshire, involved the release of large quantities of bacteria called Bacillus globuligi. The scientists were keen to discover whether long distance of travel of aerosols of the tube network was due to transportation within trains or through the tube's air ventilation systems. God, you can see where Amish and Rico
smells funny down there, doesn't it?
It
Still.
does, doesn't it? Yeah.
It does have its own aroma, doesn't it? As
doesn't
soon
it?
as you step into that.
But that's like what Amish and Rico were going to do.
Yep. We beat them to it. They were our own people.
At the time, the government thought the Bacillus globuligi bacteria were harmless, but they are today regarded as a cause of food poisoning, eye infections, and even septicemia. That's not good.
No.
It's not known whether the authorities attempted to properly test the bacterium before releasing it into the tube system. An earlier series of tube field trials in 1963 in July had been known to historians for many years, so they'd already tried it and we knew about it and they'd tested it even more.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
How did they get any sort of results from that though?
Doctors' records, they request the NHS records, which they have access to because they're the government, and see how many people are going down with this. How many people have got eye infections, how many people have had septicemia, you know, and they would correlate that data. Shocking, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. One particular test involving live plague bacteria was carried out off the west coast of Scotland in 1952, and it's long been known that a fishing vessel inadvertently passed through the cloud of bacteria, and the authorities were very worried the fishermen might contract the disease. The plague bacteria field trials, though at sea, took place only a few miles from the Isle of Lewis, which had a population of several thousand. Ugh.
Fucking let loose the plague.
Oh, Jesus. The government scientists carrying out the trials banked on the fact that the prevailing wind normally blew away from the coast. If, however, the wind had changed direction, thousands of Hebrideans would have been at risk of the plague. Oh, imagine a plague outbreak in the fucking UK in
52.
Such a
52.
risky business, isn't it?
Oh, it's all risky, it shouldn't be done, it's crazy, isn't it?
It's unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, if you thought our governments cared about us, well, what a fucking news feed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I ain't even going to the American ones.
Yeah.
Just focus on the British, because it's us. We can do an episode of American tests if you want, I mean...
Yep. Well, after the fishing vessel incident, Churchill approved a plan to carry out tests in the Bahamas as well.
Well, yeah, because they didn't want to do it on home soil anymore. They were a bit like...
New research shows a government scientist took the view that the Bahamas is the best place on the surface of the globe to carry out tests without restrictions.
What, to depopulate it and make it a luxury place
They don't care
for the
about
future?
the indigenous population, do they?
Uh,
They don't care about us, they don't care about the Bahamans.
Yeah, but they're ruining the tourist prospects, Mike. What's the point of having these colonies if you can't go on holiday? No, it's terrible. I'm joking, obviously. You
It's
know.
fucking disgusting is what it is.
In 1954, the British government sent Cold War biological warfare scientists to an area of sea near an uninhabited island in the Bahamas to release clouds of dangerous Venezuelan equine encephalitis viruses. These organisms were capable of causing in humans high fever, long-term fatigue, headaches and occasionally death. The new research reveals for the first time that in another British imperial possession, Nigeria, a location was found for chemical warfare field trials. In an area called Abonghoro in southern Nigeria, 4 British Cold War scientific missions spent a total period of about 15 months dispensing and assessing the effects of large quantities of experimental nerve gas weaponry.
Fucking hell.
The advantage of the location was that it permitted field trials to be carried out in a tropical environment. And of course, it wasn't in Britain or Australia. We tested nukes in Australia, for fuck's sake. And Pacific Islands, fucking crazy. The extent of local people that are affected by the nerve agents is not known. So,
Could have
Who
killed
knows?
thousands,
yeah.
Yeah, it could have done anything, couldn't it?
Historians have so far been unable to find out who did the particularly hazardous work of hand charging the nerve agent artillery shells, mortar bombs and aircraft cluster bombs. Likewise, they've not been able to discover the extent to which local Nigerian soils were contaminated or whether nearby villages and schools are affected by any of the toxic clouds that would have blown across the countryside.
Yeah, you can almost... You can guess that there was lots of victims.
Professor Smith's research has also revealed the vast scale of Cold War chemical warfare tests carried out on, quote, volunteer British service personnel here in the UK, involving numbers of people much greater than previously thought. His investigation now suggests up to 30,000 secret chemical warfare substance experiments were carried out, mainly at Portadown, on more than 14,000 British soldiers between 1945 and 1989.
Soldiers as well.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Volunteer soldiers who were not given sufficient information to allow them to give properly informed consent. So let's put, quote, volunteer, and say, hey, you're off to Portadown tomorrow. You get 2 weeks leave after that. How's that sound?
Great.
Boom. You're in, aren't you?
I'm all in.
2 weeks leave to a squaddy. Fucking hell, there's your rail pass, son. Off you go after that. It's gold dust.
You might have to wear a test suit for a few days. Yeah, no worries. Okay.
Our own fucking soldiers.
Shocking, innit?
That wasn't even during national service. No, a chunk of that was during national service time as well, wasn't it? So it was just unwitting civilians.
Would it made you feel better if they said they used prisoners?
No. I fucking wouldn't. Shouldn't have been tested on anybody.
No, this shit doesn't need to be
They are
tested.
British citizens, prisoners or not.
Murderers and rapists.
No. It's horrific, isn't it?
No,
Murderists.
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 I just invented a new word.
Unalivers. It says on subtitles nowadays. Unalivers. No, this shit. Murderer, rapist, paedophile, whatever. Nah, this shit doesn't exist.
They're the fucking terrorists. The British government.
Well, yes, this is my point. It's,
They're
Well, not-
terrorising the British public. Are they not?
Not
Yeah.
just the British government, all the governments. But
Well, yeah, we'll go into it now. The Americans as well.
in Operation Sea Spray, unsuspecting inhabitants of the San Francisco Bay Area were sprayed with Serratia marsurens and Bacillus globulii pathogens that were then implicated in some unusual outbreaks of illness, including pneumonia and urinary tract infections and even some deaths. In 1977, the US Army revealed that between 1949 and 1969, open-air tests of biological agents were conducted 239 times. Claire's shaking her head at me.
I just don't understand who's giving the nod
Well,
on
this-
all this shit. It's
Sweet,
just...
this is the birth of chemtrails, isn't it? Let's face it. It's been going on ever since, if you believe in chemtrails.
Oh, just the way that many people are in on it.
I've heard pilots talking about
Yeah,
it.
you've heard some pilots
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about it. There's 50,000 airline
I don't,
pilots out
I
there.
don't believe that it's commercial airlines that are doing it.
No,
No.
I'd draw the line at that.
No, it's
But
not.
army fucking things, yeah. Army planes and shit, definitely. And we know that Bill Gates has done it.
Yeah.
Barium is spraying in the air.
That fucking
Trying-
Bill Gates.
You know, like, willing to test fucking viruses and chemical agents on our own people.
You know, they got
Nothing is out of fucking bounds, is it?
they got this Jake Paul versus fucking Tyson. Can
That's
we not-
harmful to
can we
Jake
not-
Paul.
Can we not do like Bill Gates versus Mike Tyson? Come on.
Jake Paul first.
Who wouldn't pay money to see that though?
I don't think Bill would be up for it.
I know, but maybe.
I mean, would
give
you
him no
fight
choice.
a 59-year-old Tyson?
No,
Fuck no. Have you seen his training videos?
he's 57. Anyway.
57. Or 58 when the fight happens.
Either way,
Would you fight him? Have you seen his training videos?
No.
Oh my god, he's moving like he's 21.
he moves pretty much like he fucking did. But how long will he be able to move like that for? That's the difference.
About 3 rounds.
But hopefully that's all he's going to need.
Oh, I don't think he'll need any more than that.
He's going to smash Jake Paul, I hope, all over the ring.
It's on Netflix.
I can't wait.
No, mate. Be terrible now, you watch. In the 1950s, US Army researchers dispensed zinc cadmium sulfide, now a known cancer-causing agent, over Minnesota and other Midwestern states to see how far they would spread in the atmosphere. The particles were detected more than 1,000 miles away in New York State.
Half the fucking country. Cancer causing fucking agents.
Bacillus globuligi, never shown to be harmful to people, was released in San Francisco, New York, Washington DC, and along the Pennsylvania Turnpike, amongst other places. Has been shown though, hasn't it? People get ill from it.
Yeah.
In New York, military researchers in 1966 spread Bacillus subtilis variant Niger, also believed to be harmless in the subway system, by dropping light bulbs filled with bacteria onto tracks in stations in Midtown Manhattan. The bacteria was carried for miles through the subway system. Army officials concluded in a January 1968 report that similar covert attacks with a pathogenic disease-causing agent during peak traffic periods could be expected to expose large numbers of people to infection and subsequent illness or death.
Unbelievable.
Believed to be harmless, but still, you know, they're doing that shit to people.
Variant Niger. That's very interesting, isn't it?
It's the Nigerian variant of that disease, isn't it?
That's what I was wondering. Is that,
Niche.
were they trying to make it target?
Well, they've literally gone to that country, collected that disease, grown enough of it.
Oh right, I see. Got you.
That variant of the disease is more deadly than the one we've got at home.
Yeah.
So instead of developing it, we'll fly there,
Have some.
we'll get some, we'll take it back to our labs, we'll grow it, weaponise it.
Drop it on the tracks in train stations in Midtown Manhattan,
And just watch it. Watch
Yeah.
what happens.
Yeah.
and then exposing large numbers of people to the infection, who
Something
became ill and some died.
It's believed to be harmless. There was no casualty reports
No,
on
it
that.
says
but
in 1968 a report similar covert attacks with a pathogenic disease-causing agent during peak traffic periods
could be expected.
to expose.
So if Amsh Enrico got it right,
Mm.
that's what happens.
So that was a test. They
That was
used
a test.
Harmless.
that they think
agent.
is harmless.
Yeah. Believed to be harmless. Yes. Dodgy as fuck.
In a May 1965 secret release of Bacillus globuligi again at Washington's National Airport in its Graham bus terminal, more than 130 passengers were exposed. They travelled to 39 cities in 7 states in 2 weeks. So this stuff spreads. They're exposed to it. It might be harmless to them. It might not be. If they've got an underlying health condition, it might be really bad for them. But they're not even bothering to sort of check, are they?
Well, we know now it's not harmless. It can cause eye infections,
Oh, yeah.
septicemia.
True enough. In severe consequences. So,
Mm.
yeah. All this stuff gets that tested done by our own government. It's terrifying, isn't it?
Yeah.
What have they put in the air?
What have they put in the water?
Exactly. We're upping fluoride soon. It's going to another 2 million homes or something like that. It's in 2 million homes, and it's fluoride in the water. It's in 2 million homes at the minute. It's going to be another 2 million homes shortly.
It's only in 2 million homes.
Well, it's in 2 million homes.
I did more than that.
That's what I read somewhere this week. 2 million homes.
Hasn't fluoride been in the water for
That's what I
fucking
thought.
years?
That's what I
No,
thought.
we had it.
What?
We had it.
Yeah.
It's been done for years.
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We've had fluoride in water
Yeah,
for years.
that's what I mean. He says 2 million people. It's more than that.
No,
2 million
no.
homes.
Nah.
Homes. It's a lot of homes.
It's only 8 million people.
Yeah. It's a lot. That's what I read somewhere this week anyway.
No.
No, I'm pretty sure fluoride's been going in the water for a long time. Like
It wasn't
since-
up in the quantities. Either way, it's going
Maybe
in
it's
more.
up in the quantities for 2 million. They've done tests. They've tested it out on 2 million homes.
Now they say it's to aid our teeth, isn't it?
Yeah. Depends what you do. Depends if give you better teeth.
That's
Oh,
why
it's
they've
blocking the
done it.
third eye, Mike.
It's
No, that's why
calcifying the
they've-
pineal gland.
Calcifying the pineal gland, blocking the third eye, stopping us seeing the fucking reptiles.
Yeah.
They're running the show.
Never know. But no, there is that NHS dental scandal at the minute, isn't it? So I think they're upping the fluoride to counteract that, and maybe they've used 2 million homes as its guinea pig.
Maybe.
See if
What dental scandal?
no one can get into a fucking NHS dentist at the minute. So people's teeth are in worse states.
People are doing
Like
home
young-
dentistry.
Yeah, since the pandemic and that, it's gone redonkulous.
People are that poor now, they can't afford to go and see a dentist. They're doing home dentistry.
I believe it. You get the pliers, and it's left, right, slide it out.
Just like that.
Apparently so. You'd have to drink a lot of fucking booze first, though.
Yeah, you pull the wrong one out.
I've actually always been quite lucky. I haven't actually been to the dentist in like 20 years, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, I've never had any filling in my life, never had any toothache, nothing like that. Clean them twice a day,
If you haven't been to the dentist, how do you know if you need a filling or not?
no pain.
Filling's meant to prevent it before it starts to.
Well,
get
either
that
way,
bad.
Because you'll have a partial rupture. That's what they say when
no,
they're in
it's
your
all
mouth.
good, there's no pain.
There is no pain until you've got a full rupture. And then, like, you know,
It's
an
too late.
infection.
Well, I never had that either, so. I go when something's wrong. And there's been anything wrong, so I haven't gone. Because it's fucking expensive. They do that every 6 months for no fucking reason. Go to the doctor when something's wrong. Go to the dentist when something's wrong. So it should be.
Prevention is better than cure.
But no rotten teeth.
So
Alright.
biological chemical weapons.
Yeah.
What do you think then? Are you in,
Should-
in or out?
No, shouldn't. I'm out. I'm completely
or
out.
out?
I'm completely out of all of it. Shouldn't exist. Should not exist.
100%.
Certainly shouldn't be tested on their own fucking people.
Well, no, that's that too. But these things shouldn't exist in the first place.
No.
It's the cruelest way to kill somebody.
Claire?
I think it's good to study them to bring about sort of
Antidotes and then.
antidotes for
Counteracting.
yeah, you know,
reasons, yeah.
natural, you know.
Well, there are bad faith
illnesses.
actors out there.
There is what, sorry?
Bad faith actors,
Yeah.
terrorists and things that.
Bad faith actors. That's so politically correct. Just say terrorists.
What did you say?
Bad faith actors. That's so fucking.
That's what they say.
Oh, that's terrible.
Is
That
that
is
the
that the
name?
new term?
Is that the
No,
new
but-
woke term for terrorists?
I've just heard that term being floated about. I don't know.
Oh, they're trying to squeeze that in, aren't they?
Bad,
Terrorists. That's
bad
just-
faith actors are unaliving people.
Yeah. Oh God, it's Demolition Man. It's turning into Demolition Man. Oh fuck me.
There's a murder, death, kill.
Oh man.
How
Not
do you
again.
use the three
Shells.
three shells? On
Oh no, we
starfish
said
then?
it the other week, but it's fucking true.
Yeah.
It's dumbing us down to it.
But just think how many people, how many got cancers through all these tests.
Oh, it's as Pete would say, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, you don't
It's
know the
evil,
result.
It's evil, isn't
Yeah.
It is. It's
It's a way
But
of
it's-
trying to maybe do population control.
It's-
Subtly.
They just don't care about us. We're cattle, mate. We're cattle to be farmed. That's it.
It's what we've always been.
I know.
The peasants have always
all
been.
they care about is making money off the backs of our labour and then selling us the tap.
Because we are the peasants of.
That's it.
If you go back a few hundred years, we're the peasants, the farmers, the ones that
Yep.
do all the work, the physical work, the labour, yeah? So we are the peasants.
Yeah.
They never gave a
I've said to
fuck
you
about
before.
the peasants.
Nothing's changed. Peasant, lord, employer, employee.
Yeah.
That, it's still there. That link is still there. You got the haves and the have-nots.
Your CEOs and they're the lords. And
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
But until we find a new way of how it should be, you know.
Well, there is a
not-
way.
it's not-
Marxism.
Mm.
Oh please!
It's not going to move forward.
It's
is
never
it?
gonna fucking work.
Communism.
It's not gonna work. Everywhere they've done it, it's never worked.
Democracy.
It's always devolved into something
no,
else.
that won't work.
There's
either.
no system that's going to catch all. There's no system. You got to invent a new one, and someone cleverer than me has to do that.
Supremacy.
Sometimes you need a Caesar. I'll give you that. Sometimes you need one.
Just one world fucking.
Don't give him the IT.
One leader, but every other fucker.
You globalist!
When every other fucker is equal.
Sometimes you need a Caesar to sort shit out, is all I'm saying.
No, we just don't need a ruling class. We don't need.
Oh, you can't rule ourselves, we're idiots.
Fuck
We've been
off.
dumbed down to it, we're idiots. Look at the
They have
internet.
no, look,
Look at the internet.
the
My
millionaires,
God, the opinions on there.
the millionaires and billionaires, yeah, they don't care about our rivers and our seas. They don't fucking holiday in Britain, do they? They don't care about the poor quality of the food that's in the supermarkets. They have the best that there is. They don't care. It just doesn't affect them. They don't care about the schools. They go to private schools. They don't care about the hospitals. They've got private doctors.
Yeah.
Do you know how much the Queen spends on her fucking Christmas dinner?
The king.
Oh, well, yeah, but at the time it was the Queen. She'd buy a £700 ham.
Oh, I wonder how good does that taste?
Just a couple of kilo ham that costs £700.
What's so special about the ham?
The rich have gold flakes on their fucking steaks.
And I know that because I used to work in a company that literally they delivered the meats for the fucking royalty
Iceland?
and shit. No,
So,
no.
Queen's not having Iceland.
The company I
All
briefly
the bugs go to Iceland.
Yeah, true.
remember that company I briefly worked for
Yeah.
after leaving Iceland. It was, but yeah, and that was just on one little item. It was like £700. That was like the Queen's. That's what she'd get, and there'd be a turkey and a swan probably, but they weren't allowed to show that on the on the
you can't have
menu.
Can't have everything swan.
She's allowed to eat her own swan, surely.
But no, it's just like you say, they don't give a fuck
don't give a
because they're eating like stuff that we'd never imagined to be able to ever eat.
Exactly.
Like a £700 fucking ham.
I want to know what
That's
that ham costs
$1,400 to you Americans.
I want to know what a ham costs £700.
Because it's
No, it was
No.
that
big as
big.
this sofa.
No,
No,
it's
it
like
was-
a couple of kilo.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe it was
The same with
cured.
like the goose or whatever. It was like £900 for a goose.
Well, let's
Maybe
soak
it
that
was
ham in
cured-
rum.
Cured in goose jizz.
I'm soaking that ham in rum and
That
carrying it
don't
around.
make it sound very appealing, does it? Soaked in goose
They
jizz.
cooked it in the finest goose jizz. Wow. Well, on that bombshell, we all know what Claire has for Christmas dinner. But yes, Mike, you are right. It is a travesty that it's been tested. It's governments are evil. These things are evil, full stop. They shouldn't exist, is my argument. They just should not exist. We should not be fucking around with this because one day it'll come back to bite us on the ass.
What's here? It's biting.
Yeah, it has. They've tested it on us.
You know, bite us in the ass big time. Like when that weaponised Ebola gets out and we can't fucking stop it.
If that becomes airborne, we're fucked.
Yeah, if Ebola gets airborne, you're fucking dead. It's a 90% mortality. What was a 90% mortality rate? They've got it down to 60. That's still shit.
Yeah.
And how do they get to you in time?
Everyone's seen The Stand, haven't they? Or read the book.
No.
Stephen King now.
I've seen The Stand.
Yeah.
I like the Stephen King movies. Problem is, yeah, it's terrible. They shouldn't exist. They should just. It will come back to bite us in the ass. We've had one pandemic that may or may not have been natural. Right?
And that only had a maximum of 3% kill rate.
What if Ebola gets airborne with 60%? We're fucked.
Yeah.
Because everyone's going to go, I'm not wearing my mask. I'm not staying at home.
For
We've had
Ebola,
this.
For Ebola.
I think
I think
people would
they
take
will.
it a bit
Yeah,
more
because people will
seriously.
go, all them figures are made up.
Well, there'll be a certain percentage of the population, won't there?
At least they'll die off.
So they'll be dead very quickly, I guess.
That's true.
And even your doctors have to wear hazmat suits when you've got Ebola. Because if they get one bit of moisture on them off you, it can transmit the disease. I mean, how fucking crazy is that? And you effectively shat out your fucking organs. Oh, no.
Doesn't bear thinking about, doesn't it?
No. You shouldn't be trying to fucking make this shit more worse. You shouldn't be trying to do anything with anything of this stuff. Chemical, biological, hell, nuclear. Fuck, I don't want any of it.
No. Daisies and sunshine, that's all we need. And hugs.
Come and have a fight with some sticks.
No, pillows.
Pillows.
Have a pillow
sticks.
fight.
You know what? Let's fucking get some fucking lightsabers and do
Your
like
top
dueling.
man,
Let's
my
get some-
top man, couple of pillows.
Yes.
Winner takes all.
Why can't we make fake lightsaber duels the way you win a war?
Well, I've just read today the Chinese are developing swarming drones.
Oh, none of their shit works. None of it fucking works. They're not developing it. They're developing it. Yeah, they're fucking 70 years away from it. None of their stuff works. Their missiles are filled with water.
We'll see.
They're a paper tiger, Mike. I'm telling you. Well, on that note, let's end the show. I've been Ben. Thanks for listening to our insane rabble about biological and chemical warfare and other stuff thrown in. Don't do the favour. Don't join a cult. Don't develop nuclear, chemical and biological weapons. How's that? Don't do that.
I've been Mike, thanks for listening. Peace out, may the force be with you.
I've been Claire, thanks for listening. Open on, not so open that it smells like your ears.
And I've been Pete. Just keep in mind what Ben said. Stay away from fucking chemical, biological, nuclear weapons. Just fuck off, the lot of you.